Yes, I
Okay.
have a lot to talk about.
Yes.
Okay, are you recording? Are you
We're
recording?
recording. That's the beauty about these shows.
Awesome.
They're raw, unedited, and oh, you look beautiful, by the way. All in
Thank
place.
you.
Shelley,
Thank
I'm so glad to connect with you today. Last time we tried, there was a lot of energy that seemed to block us from really,
for sure.
for trying to speak, and then the whole thing didn't work out. So we're not doing a live, but I think these recorded shows are much more easier at the moment, simply because we get stopped, and some of my videos have been taken down on YouTube, and that's saying a lot with the madness and chaos that's going on. But
I know.
I'm so happy that we've connected. Truly, I am.
So happy.
And I think you're going to be an absolute leader in your age group, because what you know, first of all, the emotional tenacity and the emotional intelligence you have for a 17-year-old, if you don't mind me sharing that with you.
Of course. Thank you so much.
You are such an inspiration, and even to me. And I'd like everyone to know, after our last conversation, I walked away. I felt really uplifted and inspired by you. You've got a fresh, beautiful, raw energy about you. And if your parents are going to be watching this, they should be very, very proud of the daughter that they've raised.
Thank you so much. I am so happy to be here. Finally, we're going to make it work. So I'd like to introduce myself really quickly, if that's okay.
Yeah, of course. That's what taking away, sweetheart.
Okay. Hi, everybody. My name is Shelley, and I'm 17 years old, and I'm a truth seeker, and I'm so curious about, everything that's going on in the world, and I'm a world traveler, and I'm homeschooled, and I'm also a Kundalini yoga teacher, among so many other things. But the reason why I'm here with Alpa today is because I wanted to talk about a few things. I wanted to talk about topics that are important to talk about, especially in this moment in time. And I feel like, it's so important for kids and teens to start using their voices now, because our voices need to be heard. And so many kids are curious about what's going on, but they just don't really know how to express it. They don't know how to deal with these things, right? And so I want to be that person that could just inspire. If there's any kids watching right now, I want you guys to be inspired by me and by Alpa. And it's amazing what happens when people of all ages come together and speak out. And so I'm really happy to be here.
Absolutely. And Shelley, you've just hit on some really important points, and before you sort of begin with the things you want to discuss, and I applaud you, because this is very much needed, this wisdom for your age group. I have a few nieces and nephews in that age group, but are very sheltered and almost very desensitized to these issues that are going on. And some of the things, as we spoke about last time, they're not easy things to tackle, of course.
Definitely not.
They're not. But you've employed the sense of maturity for a 17-year-old, which I find so beautiful. And that sort of inner resolve and strength, because that's what's needed here. And to tackle these issues with that sense of a gentle assertiveness, but an acceptance that this is what it is, but now how do we deal with this moving forward? And the first step is the awareness, right? The awareness about this. So I'd love to hear about how you're going to tackle this in your age group.
For sure. Yeah. First of all, the disclosure that's going to come, we never know when the disclosure is going to come, but it's going to be so hard for my age group to tackle this. And it's kind of crazy what we're going to be hearing very soon. And, you never know when that day will come. But I recommend for kids and teens, when the 10 days of darkness comes, don't watch everything because the stuff that's going to be broadcasted is going to be so hard to hear. It's going to stick with you forever for the rest of your life. It's so traumatic. And so, yeah, it's very hard for kids and teens to tackle this.
Why don't we start with this, just before we go into
Okay.
that? Sorry to interject there. Let's tell us a bit about your awakening journey, or your journey to this path of truth, because it is rare to hear of someone your age to actually know so much. And I know you know so much because we've had private conversations, and you know, I've been very impressed with that, and the fact that you haven't been swayed by celebrity or media, mainstream media at all. And social media, because there's so much going on social media. So tell us a little bit about that and how your journey's come to where you are now.
Yeah, so ever since I was little, I was always, first of all, my parents, they were awakened since, I don't know, since I remember. And I was always curious. My parents would always watch these videos, right? I always was curious about what they were watching. And ever since I was little, I remember it was kind of like this knowingness that like I knew that something was wrong. And I went to school. I went to public school for so long. And when I was about 12 years old, I was like, something's wrong here. I hate school. I hated school all the time. And then I realized why. So I hate systems, and I noticed how they teach kids in school is it's just terrible. And you know, I knew that I had to first get out of school, or else if I would have stayed in school, I would have still kept brainwashing myself. So first I had to like get out of the system somehow, because I couldn't really awaken into my, you know, into my fullest potential without getting out of the system first. And I feel like I was always just so curious about the truth, and if I heard something that resonated with me, I feel like I have a strong intuition. So if I hear something that resonates with me, I take it in, right? So I could kind of differentiate between what's right and what's wrong really easily. And yeah, I'm just like every day I learn, every day I grow, and I'm so, so curious. And so many kids my age that I'm connected to right now online, they're like, yes, you know, all this stuff. It's so interesting. It's so interesting.
They don't really kind of understand it.
Well, depends. There's some kids that won't understand this, but I'm connected to like an awakened group of teens.
Right.
I don't know if you're familiar with Lori Ladd. Are
Yes.
you?
Yeah.
Yeah, so she created a community for teens. We could put the link down below later, but it's incredible. If you guys want to join, it's amazing. There's a kids community and then there's a teens community, and these teens are so woke. Like they're so awakened. I'm shocked. It's incredible. Because kids really want to know the truth. They really want to understand what's going on more than adults sometimes. And so, yeah.
That's so important. There is this issue with children being very fragile, and I had an incident, and I'll speak about that a bit later, with a niece of mine the same age as you, just about 6 months younger. And oh, are you there? So yeah, the internet connection went a bit bad, but it didn't disconnect. See, look, they're already trying to get interfere again. The energies, you know, but they can't stop us. Oh,
Let's let all the bad energies go. Sometimes they want to interfere with what we're saying, and so we just have to state, I am demanding for any dark consciousnesses to leave now, and they will go.
now, brilliant. See, you're such a smart. You're just so, you know, you vibrate so high. Yeah, so it was very interesting. I think we just got cut off where I was speaking about a niece of mine who's 16 years old, just probably about 6 months younger than you, actually, not even a year. And I've been posting stuff about all this, this awakening, everything connected to the election. And I actually blocked my family and my little nieces and people who are under the age of 18 from my statuses, not because I wanted to, because I want to get the message out there, and I know it's raw. However, it's my own family at the moment that are finding it difficult to even open their eyes to this, and they think it's just something that I've gone mad, you know, the whole conspiracy theory kind of
my family's the same exact thing. Trust me, same exact thing.
So, and some of the, but by mistake, I'd left her on my status. And in light of everything that's been going on acutely, especially in the last week, Shelley, and we've spoken about that, it's been really, really heightened energies, haven't they? And just so much going on. Everyone's kind of on tender hooks, but we're really enjoying the journey. We're enjoying the journey. We're keeping our vibrations high. We're keeping our spirits high. And you, I mean, gosh, imagine being in your company all the time. I think I'd be flying. you're just this ball of sunshine and awesome energy. And unfortunately, Shelley, she was completely distraught. It traumatized her because I put stuff pertinent to the children. So when we talk about people in your age group knowing about this stuff, what do you feel about how raw we can go and how honest and how open it needs to be, how open it should be? What is the way this needs to be handled?
I think the way this needs to be handled for kids especially is especially the topic about the children. That is so hard to hear. So that topic, kids don't need to hear too much of it because that's going to traumatize them the most, especially when you're a kid yourself. It's terrible. But everything else about, we shouldn't go too into detail, of course, but I think every kid and teenager and basically every young person out there needs to know about corruption, needs to know about, people in higher power and how they're controlling us. They need to know about all of these external things, but not to dive too much into the children's topic, especially.
How did you deal with that? See,
oh my gosh.
Without going into the details, how did you find it and how did you deal with it? Tell us about what you've experienced, because obviously you are very awake. That means you're awake to everything and you're strong enough to deal with it. But what was it like for you?
Yeah, so the first thing that the main thing that got us awake was the series Fall Cabal. I don't know if you've heard of it.
Yes.
That's like the first thing that got us like shook. When our chiropractor in California gave us this, he's like, you got to go watch this now. Our whole entire world just changed. And I used to watch
people, yeah.
I used to watch that with my parents. Like, I just decided to because I'm like so curious. But when I hear something that sounds really scary, I try not to emotionally attach to it, right? So I try to like observe it from the side, but not go too into it. Good. I mean, people can decide if they want to go all in down the rabbit hole or kind of observe it from the side. I chose to observe it. And I noticed when you do that, you don't get so traumatized. But yeah, it is definitely so hard to hear, like how cruel can these creatures be? Like, when you think about it, humans are kind beings, hue, we're beings of light. Hue means light. So like humans cannot be doing this terrible stuff. And then there's people that say reptilians don't exist, right? So like if it's humans that are doing all of this, then that's so embarrassing, but it's kind of confusing. Like, how could people be this evil?
Of course, but you've given some really good advice there, not only to young children, Shelley, to even adults. It's just having the ability to push forward to what you can handle and go deep enough to your own capacity. So this stuff is very hard to hear. I went all in because I think that's where my purpose was, for me to really go out and raw. Appreciate for it momentarily. For a few weeks I was quite crippled by the information, but then I sort of gathered an inner resolve and an inner strength to be able to say, right, I'm going to fight for this. And that's my angle coming into this 2020 awakenings journey and the story. And that's my part of the movie. You have a very big role, especially for your age group, but there's going to be a lot of adults watching this as well, Shelley. So very proud of you that you've offered this amazing advice, because it is important, but we do need to address it. How deep we go, we control that, because we know our own sort of choice. Yeah, we know exactly how much we can handle, but we do need to have an awareness about the corruption. That's very good. About the stuff that's happened with the children, because it was a business. And we need to know that, okay, tools to how to elevate and lift each other as a result of these revelations, you know, and how to sort of hold space for each other and be able to, you know, really empower and motivate people to just like heal and yeah, hold that space. And I think that's exactly what you're doing, inadvertently, you know, just by the way you talk, Shelley. It's just it's so healing.
Thank you.
So you're very special.
Thank you so
like
much.
white light around you.
Thank you. I know it's, you know, it's going to be hard for people to hear, but it's important because I feel like now's the time to wake up. Like, we had years and years to wake up, but now is the time where everybody else has to wake up. So I feel like enough is enough. And yeah, if they're going to be showing crazy stuff on, you know, at the broadcast, whatever, people who aren't aware of all this stuff, they should watch the whole thing.
Yeah.
But the people that already knew all this stuff, this is now our time to relax, right? So we kind of did our job already. We're still not done, but when this disclosure comes out, for people that are already aware, I recommend just sitting on the sidelines. Let all of the people who are completely not aware, let them see what's really going on, because we already went through that, you know, a year ago, 5 months ago, 2 months ago. Now it's their turn. And I feel like I want to be that person that inspires the younger generation. And not only that, but I want to, because it's going to be so traumatizing for kids, I want to calm them down. I want to, I want to be that person that could like help them out with all of this, because
hold space for them.
Hold space for them. That's what I want to do.
Space for them, direct them, guide them, you know, and help them heal, and gently explain and assert what you know, share and impart the knowledge that you have in a way which is going to not traumatize people, but I think it's just going to help them be directed and guided in this narrative. And it's kind of slowly unhooking, unraveling what they think that they knew into a new, we're ushering into a new era. We're ushering into the 5D. We are in the 5D. We're actually, you know, we're multi-dimensional beings, having various experiences, and everything's happening on so many different timelines, and we must understand the spiritual compass behind all of this. There has to be a redirection to oneself, to go inside, to really go within, to meditate. I mean, I want to hear all about all your pictures, and you're going to tell us a bit about what you're up to, and the things that you've got going on, because you're a teenager that's got a lot of plans, and I can see that, you know, you're ready, and you're ready to get this thing started. So it's very impressive. But we have to journey inside and do our work, and that starts from a young age. We need to know how to breathe. We need to know just basic things that are not taught. I remember when I did an interview many years ago, this is before I was woke as into the corruption that happened in the world. And that's only been a year for me, like to the extent, I knew there was corruption everywhere, but to the extent, like all of us now that woke up as a result, watching things like the Fall of the Cabal, Out of the Shadows, and then you just, you know, navigate your way through this journey. I remember, you know, feeling very, I forgot the point I was about to make. Always happens when I go off on a tangent. What was I saying? Anyway, it doesn't matter. I'll remember in a second. But it's really annoying when I do this. You know, when you lose your train of thought.
Sometimes it happens to me too.
Yeah, no, it happens a lot when you're speaking every single day about this. It's just like, you know, I'm doing like 3-4 shows a day. And then it's like, you know, your brain goes, I need a better respite, you know. But anyway, we'll come back to that a bit. Oh, yeah. So about like what you're doing with this, you know, after you've learned all the stuff that you know, you've got plans. You've got plans ahead. And I saw this photo shoot. So I'd love to know a little bit more about that.
Sure. Yeah. So, you know, my goal, like I said earlier, is to help children my age. And especially after the disclosure, I want to be there for them. So I have prepared an online course, 8 months in the making, and it's finally out, so that it's like everything's like perfectly when the disclosure comes out, which is insane, when all the truth comes out and all the kids hear it, they're going to be lost. They're going to be traumatized. They're going to be confused. And that's not a good space to be in. So I've prepared an online course, and I want to help them so they could learn how to take care of themselves, right? Because a lot of kids don't know about diet, don't know about health, don't know about meditation. Let's help them relearn all of that. So that's why I created all.
That's exactly what I was going to say. So I remember a long time ago, before I was awake, and exactly what you said in this course that you're doing, we should be taught like meditation and yoga from, like, it shouldn't be just PE and physical exercise. We should be taught how to breathe, like the yogic principles in schools. They should teach meditation. They should have that as a part of the spiritual disciplines before you start your day, to focus on self. And that's what's lost. So kudos to you for incorporating that all in your course, and I think that is going to be very useful, sweetheart. Really is.
I know. I feel like I'm going to help. In my opinion, I don't want to be, but I feel like I'm going to help so many kids with this course. That's what I think, truly, because I feel like there's nothing in the marketplace, first of all, that is like a kid teaching other kids about health, about diet, about meditation. So kids are really going to benefit from this, and the link will be down below. But I really, I'm not doing this for any other purpose. I really, from my heart, want to help, truly. Yeah.
Yeah, no, and I'm going to make sure that we get that link on the description on my channel too. I'm going to speak to Charlie, the two Charlies, and some of the big truthers out there to help you for this. And I think it's important that you speak now. I want to see that. I want to see like a youth revolution going on in the correct way. And knowing about these spiritual disciplines are so important going in with, because unfortunately, with the advent of social media and people in your generation being so addicted to it, because I'm sure that you are connected to a lot of woke or awakened, whatever label we choose to give it. We're all going inside and seeking truth. You're connected to them, but you are very much aware that there is huge disconnect and cognitive dissonance amongst people your age, and a resistance to want to even explore it.
Oh my gosh.
Because they're so hooked to celebrity and that ideologies that celebrity brings them. And we tried to speak about that last time as well, and you raised some really good points about celebrity. So actually, I think if you repeat those, because we didn't do that video, there were some really good things you mentioned.
Yeah. So first of all, the way that the media portrays these celebrities and these idols, they show them in such a way where you cannot dislike them. And I feel like these kids, it's not bad to have role models. We all want role models, especially when you're young. You always want to look up to somebody who has what you want. And so the media portrays these celebrities like, they are the person you've always wanted to be and all of that. I have been in the same place. You look at these celebrities and you think they're great. I mean, they look great, everything's great, but we don't realize who they actually are. And I feel like, the media portrays them in such a way where you can't dislike them. And so that's the problem, that kids, they see them and they realize that they think everything's fine with them and they like their music, but they also get too hooked to them. And I think that's the problem. And because these people are really bad when you look down under. But when you get too obsessed with somebody or too hooked onto somebody, you're pulling away your energy into them. I think Lori Ladd was talking about this. When you are too involved in a topic, too involved in the mainstream media, too involved on a celebrity, you are leaking your energy and literally feeding their energy. So it's really important to keep our energy intact, especially right now. Very important to stay grounded and, stay sovereign. But that's what happens with kids. They leak their energy out to these celebrities so much that they have nothing left for themselves. And
there's energy vampires. That's what these celebrities
are. That's what it is.
the media has manipulated it and been designed that way so that they catch the youth. They catch, well, not just the youth, they catch everybody.
They use the youth.
And it's the frequency that the media, the music, all is, being showed to people, and how it's manipulating people at every level. Now, that's not to say that there's not real good celebrities out there, and the ones that knew the truth, know the truth, either got killed, shut down, or their careers just went down the pan. And unfortunately, when we realize the underpinning of the media fraternity, a lot is revealed there. And then we understand how it all pieces together and why it is the way it is. So I think a bit of research and correct understanding about this. And it's unfair to sort of, I don't like discriminating famous people just for the sake of it. I've had some people that I've been really connected to, because you connect to their music, you connect to the lyrics, you connect to the songs they evoke. Music evokes all sorts of emotions within you, and there's some fantastic artistry that's been there. What's happened, though, I'd say, is that with this fixation on celebrity in a negative way, like you correctly said, it's like energy vampires. You kind of become obsessed to an extent where you start feeling depressed about yourself and your life. And I noticed that when you go to a concert and people start crying, I mean, we're kind of putting these people on a platform as if they were God, and this is how it feels like it was designed.
That's satanic.
And that you're obsessed, and it's like this dream spell that's been interwoven into their psychological minds. It's a psychological warfare hitting them in their psyche. So I get it. I can see it. You can see it. But when you're so woven into that dream spell, and especially because of how desensitized we've become from everything that we consume, our pineal gland has become calcified. So you spoke about that last time, and I think it's important that kids don't remove their self from their spirituality, because they're born just so full of love and vibrancy, and just like you.
Kids are really easy. Yeah, kids are really easy to manipulate, I think, and that's the sad part about it.
Innocence.
Kids would do anything authorities tell them. Kids would do anything their parents tell them. So I feel like the mainstream media and these celebrities hook on to kids first, because they know that kids are high frequency, and it's psychology. It's a psychology war. It's a psychological war, and they know how to hook on to these kids and drive them crazy. And so kids need to start pulling themselves out of this matrix, and especially little kids. We've got to reteach them what's true, because even little kids, as little as 3, 4 years old, 5 years old, have been brainwashed like crazy. I don't live here, but I'm in Montenegro currently, and Montenegro is a very woke place. People are awakened. People have lived really hard lives here, so they know it's real. But you see little kids walking home from school, really sweet, beautiful kids with masks up to their eyes, and like nobody's around them. They're so brainwashed, and they're so easy to manipulate. But the good news is that it's also really easy to de-brainwash them, in my opinion, when they're really little. But I just wanted to talk about kids in Europe, especially. Again, we're all one, right? But there's something about kids in Europe, because they're not so brainwashed, in my opinion. Like in America, it's all about the celebrities and pop singers and all of this. And then like in places like Montenegro, it's kind of like a third world country. Kids aren't really immersed into all this celebrity social media. People here live in villages and in little towns, so it's different. I think the kids that are most affected are kids that live in the cities, kids that are inside the mess, right? These are the kids we need to work on first. They're zapped like crazy. Distractions all over the place, right? Commercial here, commercial there. And what kids need to learn, and what I want to help them out with, is how to go within, because you could find everything you need within. You don't need all of these celebrities, idols, all these distractions around you, because that's going to just distract you from that's just going to distract you from you. The
Absolutely.
media and all of those people know that the more they distract you with all of these things, with food, with commercials, the less you're going to go within. And they know the power of our pineal glands, right? I think in the Vatican, there was literally like a pineal gland statue
Yeah.
inside, I heard. Like they know the power of this, and we are supernatural beings, and we have so much power that's hidden within us. And once we learn how to, bring that alive, you could make all your dreams come true. You could manifest anything you want. I mean, life can get so beautiful, especially once kids start to learn how to use those hidden powers, because kids have been hidden from these hidden powers. And school doesn't teach you about, all of this stuff. So that's why I think kids are so abused and abused these days.
Yeah, and it's so subliminal that we don't even see it happening. It's been an attack on our consciousness, especially over the last 100 years, acutely, with all this energy that's gone towards globalization. And it's important to also understand that appreciation and obsession are two different things. We can appreciate talent. We can really appreciate our favorite pop star or idol, and obviously now we know majority of them are connected to one group of people. But when we look outside that and we look at the sort of artists that haven't become so famous, or the ones that haven't made it as big as all these other famous celebrities, which we now know why, we must never forget to appreciate. Appreciation and gratitude are fundamentally two important value systems that we must have within ourselves. So we're so used to being condemned and criticized, especially on social media. It has taught the world to troll, and that is acceptable to be vicious, and that is acceptable to have that bad-mannered approach to how to treat people and to talk to people. There's assertion and assertive energy, which also means you don't take any nonsense, but there is the politeness and the well-manneredness that has been really lost in translation through the years where social media has just taken reign over people's mindsets. Because let's just take away this year, let's take away the last 1 year. What was social media beginning to do? It started in 2007, 13 years ago, and you were very young then, but when it started, it was this new thing. Text messaging went from BBM with the BlackBerry, then it went to this WhatsApp and all this like instant messenger. Everything became obsessive for instant gratification, instant messages, instant food. Everything became instant. It's almost like we didn't have the inner resolve to wait for anything. We became a world of very impatient beings because we started wanting everything on demand, and that includes instant gratification. So it was too much information. And this dependency, almost without us realizing inadvertently, this dependency on the need to be liked, this need to be sort of accepted. And of course we go through the theories of love and the sense of the importance of belonging. This is Maslow's hierarchy of needs that they teach you, and I'm not doing any funny sign here before anyone, but at the top, I know you must be careful when you're on the public arena what you do. But I mean, I used to do this a lot, but there's so many different things that have been
so many different meanings to it, so it doesn't really matter.
I had, I'm not using that mug now, but I had a mug which I painted, and it was the energy of Shiv Shakti. So it was the one side was the masculine and the other was the feminine, and I had a big eye on both sides, and someone was going, "I, oh my god," on the comments. I'm like, no, I'm not deep state.
Not Illuminati. I know
I'm not the Illuminati. I mean, there's so many different variant meanings, and this is where we need to do more work. We need to do more research. So not easily
too much division.
Jump to the conclusion. We need to step back. Let's not jump in haste into various conclusions. Let's decipher. Let's discern. And social media taught us to condemn and criticize people. Of course, not everyone's like that, but with what's going on with this disparity to do with Donald Trump right now, the actual hate and contempt that's a byproduct of what's been going on. What is that because of? Let's put it in perspective. It is because of the manipulation of the media, owned by the Chinese Communist Party. The media is owned by the Chinese Communist Party. They have very subservient tactics to manipulate the public. Their agenda is to control mass thought, the way people think. So even when you just mention, say, Trump, it's like somebody's had an electric
I want
shock.
to talk about Trump.
Yeah. It's just like, you know, I remember saying to one of my nieces, she's 6 years old, she was talking about Donald Trump, and she went, oh, I wish he would just die. And I went, whose thoughts are these? And I don't want to mention her name. And she just went, oh, but they told us this at school, that he's a big evil man, and we heard he got coronavirus and he needs to die.
That's how it was in my, literally, like every kid that I know from my old school hates Donald Trump. But it's funny because they don't know him personally. It's just because they heard the mainstream media talk about this over and over again. Look, it's crazy how they show Donald Trump to these kids because, you know, he's one of the greatest people that ever lived, and he's literally saving our planet. And then in school, they teach them, and I don't even think it's in school. Like, it's not like the history teacher's like, Trump sucks. It's not really. It's mainly from social media where they get manipulated, let alone school, social media, you know, on Instagram and Facebook, these celebrities.
Chrissy Teigen and John Lennon.
These celebrities. It's not that CNN talks about it. Kids don't really care about CNN. They care about their idols and what their idols have to say. And when they hear their idols repetitively saying the same thing about Trump, they start to believe it because they look up to them so much. And it's crazy. So after kids realize what's actually going on behind the scenes and who these celebrities, so-called people are, they'll start to think differently. Yeah, I think the younger generation in the 5D world, we're already in the dawn of the age of Aquarius, but like in a couple years, the younger generation is going to rule, and we are going
Shelly,
to...
I love you. I love you. I just love you. I just want to give you a
Me
hug.
too.
Oh, God, Shelly's parents, if you're watching this, just look at this beautiful girl.
Thank you so much. I want to hug you too.
You're just a delight. I'm so sorry to interrupt you there. I'm just like this old Mother Hubbard that just gets so emotional about these things. I'm just going, oh my God, you could be my daughter, you know, and this is so really special.
I know. I feel like my time has come because, first of all, like, I know that I came on this planet for a reason. Like, I just know it. And what's funny is, I don't know if I should talk about this, but I did a mini session with Lori Ladd, and I'm a part of her Patreon community, and she connected to my guides, and they told me that I have never been on, this is kind of off topic, but I just want to talk about it, that this is my first reincarnation. So my past lives, I wasn't a human, and that's rare in a way. And I feel like I have came to this planet specifically, literally. I decided to come here, and it was a very hard decision, but I knew that I was here to spread my light, and I knew that I was here for a big, big, big reason. And so I feel like...
I 100% believe that. When I got off the phone with you last time, I thought, I kept thinking about her, and I'm thinking, why were we having so much interference with our connection? It just kept jamming every time I tried to come on live on Facebook, and then when we were speaking, the energy felt interrupted. Like now we're just, you know, really vibing and flowing. Isn't it a different energy completely to that day?
Completely different.
Right? And
that day was so weird.
Yeah, we were sensitive. I felt a little bit like, I just said, Shelly, I didn't feel that, and I remember walking away. So this girl is really special, and I said, and I thought initially like a really old soul, but what you've said, that there is this beautiful, I can see a light around you, a white light, and it's like a hue, and you know, you're so perceptive, and your emotional intelligence and your spiritual intelligence is not from a place of ego or any of that. It's just new, and that's the word I came up with. It's fresh. And I said, and I thought, yeah, old soul. I go, no, there's such a fresh energy about her. So
I don't feel like an old soul at all. I always thought that I had like hundreds of reincarnations, and most people on Earth went through millions, thousands of reincarnations, but I feel like I'm fresh. Like, I just feel like this is my first time, and this is the lifetime where I make things happen. And yeah, I do have big plans when I grow up. And I feel like my life has already been planned out. So like my guides and all of my beings and my family of light, I call them, they help me plan out my life. And the way I imagine this, it's kind of funny. But before I came into Earth, it's like the Earth is here and I'm in space and I'm with my guides. And then I just like, they're like, oh, that's the lifetime you're going to live. And then I just go down there. And
Wow.
so it was a very big decision for me to come here. Now that I know that, thank you so much, Lori. You helped
Oh,
me out so much. If you're watching, I mean, I don't know. Because if it wouldn't be for Lori, the way she connected to my guides, I wouldn't even know maybe until I'm 40 that I am here to do something huge. So thank you so much. And yeah, I
that's
really feel like
you are an angel. You seriously are an angel. And just finishing off what we were saying before about your course, you're going to sort of offer spirituality, of meditation, guidance. It's almost like counseling and healing. And there's going to be a requirement
yes,
for the work after this, when there's full disclosure about what's actually going on. And I can really see you, globally taking part in the initiatives. There you have Greta Thunberg, and here we have Shelley. Complete. Honestly, you should be there. You should be there because you have that. She's very much
thank you.
reliant on scripts, and you are just someone that I think can be a global ambassador for people in your generation. And of course, as you
Thank you.
evolve, just to be a leader, a world leader in this. And I see it, and this is not any false placating or anything like that. For me, I recognize these qualities in people, and for me it just warms my heart to empower people so that we're all on the level playing field. This is what global financial reset is about. Everything's
Yeah,
going to be on a fair level playing field, and that's what we need to also see amongst each other. It's that unity consciousness, understanding that we all have our role to play. So we should understand who we are, what our strengths and weaknesses are, and work in accordance with that. But then what our
exactly.
script, what are we've come here, and identify what did we come here for. Therefore,
Exactly.
that those feelings of being lost completely dissipate. But it takes time. It takes a lot of time for us
Yes.
to unravel from and unwind and unhook from these energies the cabal have permeated. For you, it's easy, and to even for your generations, it will be a lot easier because
For sure.
17 years in, this has been infiltrated for years and years and years, and we're talking centuries. So everybody's here on their own script, on their own karmic script, and we once
It's
we
like a
actually
movie.
and it's a movie, and once we embrace this and we ride the, I always call it, to like my friend Aisha, she's my sister from another mister, absolutely love her, and I'm so great to connect with beautiful souls. Tiana is somebody I want to get a round table with you, because she's not
Oh
so,
my gosh.
have you know Tiana, right? Have you seen some of her stuff? Oh, you must
I
watch
have
her.
to double check. I think I know her. I'm a little familiar, but not
Yeah,
really.
I must watch her. She's a little bit older than you. She's 24. But again, I encourage and empower her to also be a leader, irrespective of the obstacles and challenges that come your way. You know that, Shelley. You know that you're going to have, that a little bit of resistance, because there is this cognitive dissonance from everybody, not just children, not just the teenagers. Sorry, not children, because children, bless them, hopefully they don't. Right now, they're just busy being children, but all this stuff that's happening is going to have an impact on them and their psychological makeup, wearing masks, submission, subordination, acquiescing. We're teaching them the wrong things. We're suppressing them and taking away their vibrancy, their exuberance. It's just, but it breaks my heart.
100%. So
It's
many kids
just,
are lost.
and
It's crazy.
depressed. I'm
Because,
depressed.
yeah, sorry, I just wanted to say something really
Yeah,
quickly about that.
yeah, say it.
Like, I know why I'm here, and that's huge, but so many kids don't. And that's why they're lost, and that's why they fall into depression and anxiety. And it's so sad to see that because, you know, we're beings of light, and over time it's like the layers of the onion come on, right? And especially, I got out of school early. If I would have stayed in school up till now, I don't think I'd even be having this conversation with you right now. I'd be in a completely different situation. And so, I mean, very soon the school system will change. So we could all go back to school. But if it would have kept going with all this like cabal, thank God it's not. I would have recommended everybody to get homeschooled because it's just going to get worse from there. Thankfully, I mean, I'm already in 11th grade. I don't know how it is in the UK, but in the US, I'm in 11th grade and I'm basically graduating in a year. So I don't think I'm going to go back to school when, you know, the age of Aquarius is in and all that. But I recommend kids to, you could still go to school if you want to, but think for yourself a little more. Question things. Question what you're learning. Don't just learn something because your teacher tells you to. Question things. You know, teachers don't like when you question things. They don't. And so
The
kids
teachers
are
have been
lost.
churned out of the system as well, sweetheart, you know, and we must, like you said, we must critically think, we must question things. And if you're a perceptive and sensitive individual, you'll be able to decipher that, you know, even teachers don't know. They're just byproducts of the system.
Just doing their job.
Everything, everyone, most people, sadly, and this is where there's this huge cognitive dissonance on our planet still. We're evolving, we're moving, we're all kind of ascending, but still where that resistance is because people are byproducts of the system without even realizing. So even if you're trained to be a doctor, I mean, there's so much brilliant medicine that is around and brilliant technology for healing that's coming, that's been hidden from us. The med beds,
So much.
the Tesla based technology is phenomenal, and you know, there's
Amazing.
thousands and thousands of patents that are there for the cures, for, you know, really revolutionizing the medical fraternity and taking it by some, because there's good science. Science is brilliant. Quantum physics is brilliant, and then there's spirituality, and merge the two and you have heaven. Like, it's powerful. And
I can't wait until all this comes out. I cannot wait.
but we must, you know, and this is the thing, and it's just something to look forward to, but being here in the now and being present.
Exactly.
Actually, these times will never come again. This is an absolutely amazing opportunity for us all to rise and, you know, go inside and realize that, okay, while we could have done this, should have done this, let's not be unkind to ourselves. Let's wherever we need to seek forgiveness from within, like for not knowing, for maybe choosing to remain ignorant, for just not understanding things. Let's just be like, we've got an opportunity now to evolve, to wake up, to explore other stuff without dismissing it. So I say to your audience that are watching this as well, and the younger generation, you know, Shelly's a great role model, and she will be. You know, going back to school, Shelly, I don't think it's not even going to be in your path. The yoga that you know, I mean, that stretch, you're just, what a great picture. You just look like you were just, this is how her leg was up. She held it like, like this. It was like straight. I was like, wow. Yeah. Have you been, what age did you practice yoga from?
Yeah, so I'm actually a dancer and a gymnast, so that's where I got all my flexibility from. I was a rhythmic gymnast for 10 years. I got to the most professional level. I was like a very strong athlete at some point. And then I became a dancer, and I'm a dancer now, but that flexibility is from dance. Yoga. I started doing yoga when I was like 13. My mom, I did it with her all the time. And Kundalini yoga in particular. So we did Dawn yoga, which is Korean yoga, and then Kundalini yoga. There's something about Kundalini yoga, guys. If you're young or whoever's listening to this, if you've never heard of it before, or you know about it but you've never done it, go do it. It's going to decalcify your pineal gland like that, and it's probably the best yoga out there. And yeah, I became a certified Kundalini yoga teacher, and eventually...
How long did that take you to practice?
If you want to become really professional at it, like I want to be, yeah, every day you have to practice. Kundalini yoga is not really like vinyasa where you're, you know, really flexible and doing all these hard postures. It combines body, breath, and
I do it. It's amazing. I mean, I'm not very flexible. I've had a spinal injury, which is why I'm always moving around in my shows, just in case anyone's wondering.
Kundalini yoga is amazing.
Yeah, so I started doing that. I mean, I found it brilliant, and it's very strenuous. Where you're, if you're not flexible, and if you're not, you haven't been training for a long time, and there's just repetition, isn't there? And I just remember there was this one week we were working with the Jupiter, the Saturn, and all of this, and ego eradication, and then you're doing a
beautiful
type of breathing, but you're actually in these positions for like 11 minutes, and then I went to like 22 minutes for one of them, but that was just that was really difficult. 11 minutes is what I managed to do in one of them. But yeah, it's not your conventional yoga that you see on Instagram, the fancy poses.
Sure.
You know, it's actually recalibrating your breath and rising the kundalini from the base, the kundalini energy, which raises the spirit. And if it's taught incorrectly, it can also be quite, it's not, it can be a bit negative as well. So you must ensure that you're always with the correct kundalini. And kundalini is a very powerful energy. And you know, it's the Shakti energy in all of us, you know, the feminine, the divine feminine energy. So it's very, very important that, you know, we have some spiritual disciplines every single day, even if you're just cutting cords, energetic cords with people.
Energetic cords.
You know, so
that has been a big one for me. I want to
talk
about that really quickly.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
So these energetic cords, Lori Ladd talks about this all the time. And when I did the mini session with her, she told me, are there any people in your life that are kind of interfering with your energy, that are kind of distracting you from what you came here to do? And I said, yes. And I realized that there were people that are really close to me, like even in my like little family, that were pulling me away from what I came here to do. And so when I would do Lori's meditations, I would imagine like I am literally, you imagine the person, because these people, they're going to try to stop you even without them knowing. Like they're just interfering with your energy. It's really important to cut cords. Yeah. It's really important to cut those energetic cords. So I would just imagine that I would cut the cords, and next thing you know it, I still live with these people. Sometimes people think when you cut cords, you have to like get a divorce or you have to completely separate you from them. That's not true. You can do that if you want to, but energetically cutting cords is where you just cut that interference off, but you still live with these people. It's just that you're different towards them and you could finally focus on you. And so I think a lot of kids get distracted because their energetic cords are super tight with some people, you know, even like friends from school, right, that are like distracting them from what they came here to do. And so it's really important to keep staying sovereign in your field is really important. In my life, a lot of people came into my life and some of them distracted me. You know, I even get like mean comments on Instagram and I don't even talk about Donald Trump and all that. You just have to know how to stay in your field. And that's really important if you want to move forward, especially in the age of Aquarius and what we're about to go through.
Absolutely. And whatever you're watching, whatever you're consuming positively, carry on doing that. I implore you at every step of the day, you have my blessings and my love, because honestly, I feel emotional.
Oh, me too.
You're beautiful.
Thank you so much.
Beautiful. You are. And your parents should be really proud of you. And I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
I'm just such a crybaby. I've got to stop this public tears. But because everything that we've been fighting for, and you knowing me, like just to see this beauty, this absolute raw beauty. And I pray for you, your protection always, and encourage you every step there. You have my support, 1,000,000,000%. And yeah, you're just going to be and it's not about wanting to be famous or any of that. It's the right level, it's the righteous, conscious motivation behind this energy that you have. And yeah, and I know you'll just reach out and be this leader. So Shelley, we're going to do some regular ones. I'm going to invite you to some of the round tables that we have, where you can impart your youth to all of us adults. You know, it's not just because we're older. We know I come away humbled to you, my friend, you know, my sweetheart, that you've imparted so much knowledge to me, and I just want to listen to you all day. And that's the charisma that you have. So carry on, continue, charge ahead in your beauty,
I will.
in your lovely resolve, and you're going to have a lot of people. Me being your #1 fan, it's like,
Yes.
write a book. I want to be on your course.
Yeah, for sure. I thank you so much for all of your kind words. You're so sweet. And it's incredible how I found you. You know, I just intuitively saw you on Charlie's show and I'm like, I got to reach out to her. Like, I only reach out to people who, like, I really energetically resonate with. And you were that person. And it's incredible, like, the bond that we have. And you're amazing. Keep doing what you're doing, you know, because you are incredible. And, yeah, you're an amazing role model to me, for sure.
Okay, I'm gonna stop crying now. Everyone, I'm so, you know, you even have tissues ready here. All right, I love you, sweetheart, and very soon we're gonna do another one.